Everybody's been talking about Cara Delevingne and how she's fallen from grace, but not everybody realizes just how bad things have always been for her because she's had the craziest, most insane life you can think of. Why did Cara hate being rich as a kid so much? How did the modeling industry manage to break her, and what on earth does Megan Thee Stallion have to do with all this troubled beginnings? When we go through Cara Delevingne's Wikipedia page, her early life section is filled with blue links that show just how well connected and famous her family is. From the outside, it looks like she had it all: rich parents, a big fancy house in an elite neighborhood in London, and she also attended a private school that costs £13,000 per term. But as they say, all the glitters isn't gold. And this couldn't be truer for Cara, because while her life looks great from the outside, things were not so good for her. Over the years, she's described her family life growing up as chaotic and very stressful. In an interview with Harper's Bazaar, she said, "Everyone has something they go through with their family. My life, I feel, was very stressful, because there was quite a lot of chaos, not being sure if people were okay or not." For those who don't know, Cara was referring to her mother's constant battle with addiction. Her mother, Pandora, had a heroin addiction. That was so bad. It casts a shadow over Cara's childhood, especially because she was the last child. In an interview with Vogue, Cara opened up about her mother's addiction and how it affected her life, saying it shapes the childhood of every kid whose parent has an addiction. You grow up too quickly because your parents and your parents. My mother is an amazingly strong person with a huge heart and I adore her. But it's not something you get better from. I don't think. I know there are people who have stopped and are fine now, but not in my circumstance. Like this wasn't bad enough. She was also diagnosed with dyspraxia, which is a condition that makes it hard for her to coordinate her thoughts or her movement. Things got even worse because she soon started struggling with her own mental health as well, on top of trying to deal with her mom's addiction and her dyspraxia. In another interview with Vogue, she got candid about her mental health struggles, which got worse when she turned 15. She said, "This is something I haven't been open about, but it's a huge part of who I am. All of a sudden I was hit with a massive wave of depression and anxiety and self-hatred, where the feelings were so painful that I would slam my head against a tree to try to knock myself out. I never cut, but I just scratched myself to the point of bleeding. I just wanted to dematerialize and have someone sweep me away." She also opened up about how guilty she felt for having these feelings when she had what many people thought of as the perfect life. She said, "The worst thing was that I knew I was the lucky girl, and the fact that you would rather be dead, you just feel so guilty for those feelings. And it's this vicious cycle, like how dare I feel that way? So you just attack yourself some more." Even though she was born rich and had the best of everything that money could buy, Cara was just not happy. And she's often said that she didn't like growing up rich because it came with so much pressure and demands. So in a way we can kind of say that her breakdown has been a long time coming. And things got even worse when she joined the modeling industry and became even more famous under pressure. Being a model is harder than most people realize. A lot of people seem to think that modeling is just about posing for cute pictures or walking down a runway wearing some of the fanciest clothes known to man. But there's so much more that goes on behind the scenes that many people don't know about. Their hours of casting, then fittings and practice and all that stuff. And when you're a top model, like Cara, you rarely get breaks and often fly from one location straight to another to have a shoot or walk the runway. It's even worse during Fashion Week because most models just don't get time to read. The interesting thing about Cara's modeling career is that she never wanted to be a model in the first place. She wanted to be an actor or a singer instead. And she planned on only using modeling as a stepping stone to get where she wanted. But she soon adjusted to being a model. And while this is where things gradually started getting worse for her, the pressures of the modeling industry got to her. And for someone with a history of mental health struggles, she didn't handle the pressure. Well, we all know that models are under insane pressure to look good at all times. And many people even want them to be perfect 24/7, but behind the flat stomach and the toned muscles, there's so much that we don't know. Sure, we see them flaunt their perfect bodies on Instagram and we wish that we could be them. But in reality, those bodies come with a lot of hard work and sacrifices. And Cara learned this the hard way. Back in 2015, Cara revealed that she had been put under an insane amount of pressure by people who were in charge of her career. She said it's horrible living in a world where I'll get a call from someone saying so and so says you were partying a lot and you were looking this way and you need to lose weight. It makes me so angry. If you don't want to hire me, don't hire me. But it looks like her soon gave into the pressures because she started losing a lot of weight and got so thin that there were rumors that she was struggling with an eating disorder. There were speculations as to what eating disorder she had. But Cara denied these rumors and claimed that she was losing weight because she was under a lot of stress. She claimed that she was eating a lot and never had to work out because she was under so much stress that she was losing weight without trying to. People didn't believe her excuse, especially since the modeling industry is known for its toxic attitude towards food. Many models starve themselves into eating disorders just to maintain their figures. And everyone believed that this was really what was happening to Cara. It also didn't help that along with struggling with an eating disorder and been under an insane amount of pressure, she was still struggling with her mental health and feelings of guilt. She said so many of my friends would say, "How can you feel like that? And but you're so lucky." And I'd be like, "I know, trust me. I know. I'm the luckiest girl in the world. I understand all of these things and I wish I could appreciate it. There's just something dark within me I cannot seem to shake. I felt alienated and alone because I was like, what's wrong with me? I always wanted people to love me, so I never got angry with them." She continued, "I turned my anger onto myself instead of using my sword and shield to protect myself. I just put my shield up and stabbed myself. I hated myself for being depressed. I hated feeling depressed. I hated feeling. I was very good at disassociating from emotion completely. And all the time I was second-guessing myself saying something and then hating myself for saying it. I didn't understand what was happening, and apart from the fact that I didn't want to be alive anymore." People have shown concern for the insane amount of pressure that Cara has been under, with one person saying, "I'm sad for Cara, too much pressure. She really needs a lot of help. My prayers are with her." And another person commented, "I can't even imagine what it would be like to be Cara Delevingne. She has been under so much pressure from her childhood, dealing with an addict, for a mom, dropping out of school and being forced to look pretty all the time. It's no wonder she is broken." It's generally believed that it's at this point that Cara has started to dabble into drugs. So before we get into that, there's one more factor that we need to talk about in the closet. Cara officially came out as pansexual in 2017. But before that she kept her sexual orientation secret, and she suffered a lot of distress because she had to have that part of herself hidden and repressed. In an interview with Harper's Bazaar in January 2022, she revealed that she used to feel ashamed of her sexuality. She said, "I do think I would have hated myself less. I would have not been so ashamed if I'd had someone." In another interview with Variety, she revealed that the major reason that she repressed her sexuality was fear that she would not be accepted by her old-fashioned family. She said, "I grew up in an old-fashioned, repressed English family. Everyone used to talk about, oh my God, imagine going down on a woman. I'd be like, that's disgusting. I think that came from the fact that I just didn't want to admit who I was. I didn't want to upset my family. I was deeply unhappy and depressed when you don't accept a part of yourself or love yourself. It's like you're not there." Almost by the time she came out in 2017, the damage had already been done. Between her crazy childhood mental health struggles, pressures from her career, and having to repress her sexuality, Cara's breakdown was only a matter of time. The breakdown. The crazy thing about Cara's breakdown is that we watched it happen before our very eyes, and it just didn't happen overnight, because there were signs that she might have been using for a while. For example, at the 2022 Met Gala, she was super jittery on the red carpet, which was unusual for a model of her status. She couldn't seem to stand still. And this was when people started suspecting that she might be on something. Then there's her weird behavior when she attended the 2022 Billboard Music Awards with rapper Megan Thee Stallion. There's also this weird interaction between her and rapper Azealia Banks on stage. She's been unraveling for a couple of months at the very least, but things soon got out of hand when this video of her leaked online. It looks like things have gotten incredibly bad for Cara, and according to reports, her friends and family members are trying to stage an intervention for her, but we don't know if they've been very successful yet. Margot Robbie was photographed leaving Cara's house in tears after the video leaves, and that tells us that the situation may be even worse than we know. There's been an outpouring of love and support for Cara, with people leaving comments like whatever's happening with Delevingne and is honestly so sad. She's definitely going through a very challenging time. I hope she gets the help she deserves. I feel bad for Delevingne. The world is evil, and I really hope Delevingne gets help and is surrounded by people who love her. Good diction is a scary and serious disease, and I hope she overcomes this with what we know about Cara and her tough life. It's really not a wonder that she broke down so badly, especially since she's been around drugs from a very young age. Hopefully her loved ones can put together an intervention and get her the help that she needs.